How has COVID-19 changed the ophthalmic industry, and how is it evolving now that there is a gradual transition back to normal? On this very special episode of OCuTALK, Dr. Seema Nanda will be joining us for our very first in-person interview to discuss just that. Dr. Nanda?
I want to talk to you.
Not now, later.
No, now.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for a brand new episode of OCuTALK. My name's Nick, and today we have a very special guest joining us. From the Nanda Dry Eye and Vision Institute, the clinical director, Dr. Seema Nanda.
Hi guys, I'm so excited to be here live.
I know.
Wait, can I touch you? Are you real?
We're good.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
real. I'm right here.
I'm just so tired of this virtual world. It was great for when it happened. We had a way to talk and communicate with each other, but it just feels so good to be live again. And thank you for having me here, Nick, today. I mean, this beautiful studio. I'm just so excited to be here.
Well, thank you again for joining us. It's very exciting to have you here. And as far as all of our OCuTALK viewers, they know that you're a former guest on our show, but for those who are probably new to it, do you mind explaining a little bit about your background, your specialty?
Sure. Oh, thank you so much. First of all, yes, it's great to be back on OCuTALK. I think this is numero dos, so I'm excited. Maybe Trace would come up soon. It's just basically when I started last year, the corneal specialist that I was working with for a very long time decided to retire, which I don't blame him, with this current situation that we were having. But it kind of left me going, what do I do? It left me high and dry, not ocularly, but you understand. So I kept thinking, what am I going to do? And I just decided, I've learned so much from a cornea guy, and there's not many people who do a cornea specialty or anterior segment other than an ophthalmologist. So I decided to create that little niche. So I decided to create the Nanda Dry Eye and Vision Institute. And I came up with the name. It's kind of interesting. I'm like, could it be any longer? First of all, typing that out is really hard. So then I realized, I wanted something with a great acronym. So the Dry Eye and Vision, DEVI. When you translate it, it's the Hindi word for goddess. So might as well be the Dry Eye Goddess, right? Well, it also is, there's two parts to it. So it also is the second highest mountain in the Himalayas in India. Of course, the first one's Mount Everest, but that's not in India anymore. So I thought, in order to reach that summit, you got to climb some mountains here. So might as well be the second highest, right? So the Nanda Devi mountain is a real mountain. Go look it up. Google it. It's really cool.
You heard it there. Google it, definitely.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, and that's very memorable, so that I bet everyone will remember that one.
It sticks to your brain. Exactly.
Well, Dr. Nanda, I know you're very busy. From the last time you were here, you've been very busy with a bunch of projects, and I was hoping that maybe you can explain to our viewers what you have going on right now.
What do I not have going on? I think that would be sleep. There is a lot going on in the world. Everybody's been busy. I know myself. Taking on this new project of just starting a clinic is also daunting but exciting because of that, and because of the niche that I have. I've been asked to do quite a few other projects, one of which is a screening for an FDA trial that's going on right now for anterior segment, specifically blepharitis. And this blepharitis that we're looking at for the anterior segment is Demodex blepharitis. So we're recruiting patients right now to see if we can maybe treat them although a great solution would be, OcuSoft's Aus Demodex, 2 thumbs up for that. But, those patients have to be consistent about using that. And sometimes we kind of drop off, I remember to do it today. And then they stop doing it because they forget and they get busy in their lives. So if there could be some other way to treat them, this might help that. Another project, which I've been doing since the lockdowns of last year, we decided, okay, what are we going to do as far as continuing education is concerned? I used to be able to speak, nationally, worldwide, whatever. I had so many different speaking gigs. I was supposed to be in Heidelberg, Germany last year. I was supposed to be in Hawaii. There was a lot of different places that we couldn't go to. So we had to figure out what to do. Zoom became that option. I then started doing my online CE programs or continuing education programs to help those doctors who needed to get their continuing education credit. So I started Grapevine CE. And I came up with that name also just like, well, how did you hear it? Well, I heard it through the grapevine. Oh, okay, great. So one person tells another, and that's how it got started. So right now I'm focusing on Texas. I've done a few that are nationwide, but I was focusing on Texas ODs. So I'm, partial to us Texans, yeehaw. So what I decided to do is make Wednesday night webinars. So you think of Wednesday, you think of Grapevine CE, and then you just come and enjoy yourselves. And that's basically
Fantastic.
what I did. Yeah.
That's great. Well, you talked about CE topics. What type of CE topics do you like to talk about?
Oh, well, that's a great question, Nick. So I was, obviously anterior segment, and I like to do the newest things or the latest things in ocular disease or ocular medicine, or even treatments and things, even cross-linking, intacts. These are things that ODs may know about, but they don't really understand the science or when would be the person to refer to have these procedures done. Another great thing that we're working on now is just actually there's some really amazing things, right? Just we're at the cutting edge of treating so many different, I can't say anything yet, but maybe next time I'll be able to let you know or let your audience know what's going on. But there's new treatments to even treat neurotrophic keratitis, things of the cornea that's having issues that they don't close. That's what neurotrophic means. The patient doesn't have feeling in their cornea, so they don't know. It's like, well, it's time to shut it because we've got an open wound here. You're like, oh, that's not good. So there's new treatments for that. I talk about those things. Some other and then I do it in a kind of a fun or edutaining way. And what does that mean? I make it educational so that the people learn something, but I also make it so it's entertaining. And I do that in simple things like accents. And I don't know if you know what that means, but
you could explain it if you want to.
So when I was teaching at the university and the students were not paying attention, who knew? Students don't pay attention sometimes. They drift off, they text, I don't know. I just throw in an accent to describe something. Like, let's say I was talking about a case and a patient comes in with a very bad dry eye or whatever. And then I decide to create that atmosphere of the actual patient being in the exam room by changing the accent. So one would be, let's say, a Russian accent. So a 65-year-old Russian female comes in with problem with eyes. She's using her eye drops 29 times a day. She said, Dr. Nanda, please to help me. I said, I try. Well, I don't say it like that, but I always like, okay, maybe I can try. Or I can switch to a British accent like that, and then I say, have a cup of tea and maybe some drops to go with it, or rolling your R's with a Scottish accent. It's a little bit harder to do, but you have girls and lasses and you don't even understand why they're not wearing the glasses, but whatever.
Wow. I have to say, like, you missed your calling as an impersonator, because those are very good accents. I couldn't even do that myself.
But it's fun because then the audience is engaged and they're like, what is she going to do next? And they're like eating their popcorn going, okay, is she going to be, like doing something else? Like Russian to German to, I haven't done German. I'd have to practice. Yeah, Fraulein. Yeah, I'd have to think about it. But anyway, but you understand. But it keeps the audience like, what is she going to do next? And then all of a sudden, those 2 hours feels like 2 minutes. And then they learned something and then got entertained in the same vein.
Well, I like that term, edutaining. I think I'm going to copyright that. We're going to use it for OCuTALK. No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that.
Sounds good to me.
That's fantastic,
just
though.
Get that idea out there.
Absolutely. Well, was there anything else that you wanted to let our audience know about?
Gosh, again, there's so many things, like I said, on the pipeline. Just, I'm excited to be a part of it. Anybody who's in the eye field right now, whether it's the front of the eye, the back of the eye, glaucoma, there are so many new treatment options that we didn't have a few years ago. And I do believe that this last year has given us time to cultivate, motivate, do the things that we wouldn't have had time to do. And that's why I'm excited. That's why now we've come out of hiding. No more masks, at least here in Texas, but hopefully soon other places. and get those people out there seeing their doctor. I have gotten so many more referrals now because people are like, wait, I heard she's doing this new thing and nobody else is doing it yet, but I'll teach you guys. And once I do, maybe on my next Grapevine CE, and you can look at it, docnanda.com. You can go in there, type it in, look at all the CE courses that are coming up. There's so many things. And if you guys have something that I haven't thought of, that's also a good thing. Because sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I never thought to do that. So we all learn from each other. And even at the end, it's so cool because people ask questions live on camera. Well, hopefully it'll be live soon. And I did get to do my first live meeting a few weeks ago. That was super exciting.
Very exciting.
But the funny thing with live meetings too is you move around, or at least I do when I'm talking with my hands and things. You move around, and when you're walking, you trip on a wire. You're like, oops, the power went out. This is not good. Then the TV screen went dead and the mic went dead. I'm like, oh, the great joys of live meetings. But it's fun. I don't mind. I miss seeing people. So I'm super excited to get back into that too.
Well, Dr. Nanda, again, thank you so much for joining us. It was great to have you live in person. Everyone, that's the Clinical Director of the Nanda Dry Eye and Vision Institute, Dr. Seema Nanda. Dr. Nanda, thank you so much again.
Thank you. It was look, he's human. I'm so excited.